Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. The Federal Court of Malaysia, which is located at the Palace of Justice, is one of the more fascinating buildings at Putrajaya. With the palatial Islamic architecture and influences of classical Islamic culture like Taj Mahal, will make people amazed when they see the beautiful and the unique of the building. But do you guys know about how and when the Federal Court is established in our country? And about the jurisdiction and the system of administration of the Federal Court. So today, we are from Group 27 will tell and explain further about the Federal Court of Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Syahrul Iqbal bin Marwan Chiba with the metric number of 066328. Before the establishment of our present-day Federal Court, the court system, organization, and even its name underwent various changes throughout the course of history. The timeline starts in the year 1805 with the issuance of the first Royal Charter, which aims to reform the Supreme Court of Penang. The second Royal Charter was issued by the Crown, creating the Court of Judicature of the Prince of Wales Island, Singapore and Malacca in 1825. Then, in 1855, the Supreme Court of Singapore was created at the behest of the Third Royal Charter. Once the Court Ordinance of 1868 was enacted, the Court of Judicature was replaced with the Supreme Court of the Straits Settlements. This court was headed by a Chief Justice, which is based in Singapore, and two resident judges based in the settlements of Penang and Malacca, respectively. In 1946, Malayan Union was created by merging the Federated Malay States, Unfederated Malay States, and the Straits Settlements of Penang and Malacca. As a result, the Supreme Court of the Malayan Union was formed. However, the concept of Malayan Union was short-lived due to resistance from the locals, and the Federation of Malaya was formed in its place. The Supreme Court of the Federation of Malaya was created under the Federation of Malaya Agreement of 1948, which utilized the same court system as the one under the Malayan Union. This was the case until 1963, where, after the formation of Malaysia, the court was renamed the Federal Court of Malaysia, and there existed three high courts, which are the High Court of Malaya, the High Court of Singapore, and the High Court of Borneo. After the independence of Singapore on the 9th of August 1965, only the two high courts remained, which were the High Court of Malaya and the High Court of Borneo, now widely known as the High Court of Sabah and Sarawak. On the 1st of January 1985, under the Constitution Amendment Act of 1983, the Federal Court was renamed the Supreme Court of Malaysia. After the Privy Council was abolished in that same year, the Federal Court became the highest court of the land. Finally, the Supreme Court was then renamed the Federal Court of Malaysia as of the 24th of June 1994. As a recap, the Court of Judicature of the Prince of Wales Island, Singapore and Malacca was created in 1825. It was then renamed the Supreme Court of the Straits Settlements in 1868. The Supreme Court of the Malayan Union was formed in 1946, which was then replaced with the Supreme Court of the Federation of Malaya in 1948. When Malaysia was formed, it was replaced with the Federal Court of Malaysia in 1963. Then it was renamed as the Supreme Court of Malaysia in 1985, and lastly, the name was changed back to the Federal Court of Malaysia in 1994. That is all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad Khairul Aizat bin Muhammad Helmi with number matric 066698. So now, I will explain about the hierarchy and organization of Federal Court. So, Federal Court of Malaysia is the highest court of the land. It is higher than the Court of Appeal, High Court of Malaya and High Court of Sabah and Sarawak in terms of Superior Court. It has exclusive jurisdiction regarding matters arising between the Federation and the state. It is also the final venue for appeals after the Court of Appeal. Federal Court is situated in Putrajaya at the Place of Justice. Previously, it was located in Sultan Abdul Samad Building, Kuala Lumpur. According to Article 122(1) of the Federal Constitution, the Federal Court of Malaysia consists of one President, which is also known as the Chief Justice of the Federal Court, one President of the Court of Appeal, two Chief Judges of their respective High Court, and 11 or more judges appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on the advice of the Chief Justice. A judge of the Court of Appeal other than President may sit as a judge of the Federal Court and can be appointed as the Chief Justice. For your information, the current Chief Justice presiding in the Federal Court is the Right Honourable Tun Tengku Maimun binti Tuan Mat. She was born on the 2nd July of 1959 in Kota Baru, Kelantan. Her leadership was graduated from her alma mater, the University of Malaya, in 1982. Her leadership was appointed as of the title of the Chief Justice of Malaysia on 2nd May 2019.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Hafizuddin bin Sufyan with the matrix number of 067779 and I will going to continue with the jurisdiction of the Malaysian Federal Court. When it comes to the jurisdiction of the Federal Court has four distinct jurisdictions. The first jurisdiction of the Federal Court is the original jurisdiction. Now, the function of the original jurisdiction is to determine the validity of law made by either the Parliament or any state legislative assembly. Besides, under the original jurisdiction as well, the Federal Court has a power to determine disputes on any issues between states or between the Federation and any states. This is the exclusive power given to the Federal Court as described under Article 128 sub 1 of the Federal Constitution. The second jurisdiction of the Federal Court is the appellate jurisdiction. Now, what is appellate jurisdiction? Appellate jurisdiction is important to discern all civil and criminal appeals from the Court of Appeal as well as the High Court. In the case of civil appeals, Section 96 of the Court of Judicature Act grants the Federal Court the authority to hear civil appeal cases from the Court of Appeal, and it must be subjected to two circumstances. Number one, any civil issues involving the questions of the general principle or questions of public interest, and number two, any provision that relates to the effect of any provision of the Federal Constitution. Meanwhile, Section 87 sub 1 of the Court of Judicature Act grants the court the jurisdiction over the criminal appeal cases. Besides, the court also has the power to submit new evidence as per Section 93 of the Court of Judicature Act, which the court may also, number one, dismiss the appeal provided that there was no substantial cause for appeal was found. Number two, confirm or overturn the judgment made by the Court of Appeal. Number three, order for retrial. Number four, remit the case to the High Court, and last but not least, make other necessary orders. Next, the court also has a referral jurisdiction. In other words, the Federal Court has a power to discuss the interpretation or effect of any provision in the Federal Constitution at referral of trial court. The decision of the Federal Court then will be sent back to the trial court for further proceeding. Last but not least, the Federal Court holds a special authority, which is known as the advisory jurisdiction. Based on Article 130 of the Federal Constitution, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong may seek advice from the Federal Court regarding any issues arise from any provision of the Federal Constitution, and the court will give their opinion as a declaratory judgment in an open court. In short, Malaysia has two levels of court in the hierarchy, which are the superior court and the subordinate court. The superior court will consist of the federal court itself, the Court of Appeals, and the High Court, whereas the subordinate court will consist of the Sessions Court and the Magistrate Court. As the Supreme Court in the hierarchy of the Malaysian court, all of the decisions made by the federal court will bind the lower court. This is due to the application of the doctrine of judicial precedent, whereby the lower court must follow all the decisions made by the superior court when the subsequent case consists of similar facts with the previous case. However, only the principle of the decision, or also known as ratio decidendi, laid down by the superior court, precisely the federal court in this case, will be regarded as law and must be followed by the lower court in the hierarchy. Well, that's everything from us. Thank you for investing your time listening to our presentation and hope it will benefit you. Thank you very much.